Hello everyone, this is Stuntbackup again, and I'm going to be doing this video now. I said I was going to do it this week, but it's not quite the week I was talking about yet, but who cares, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to start with ranking each single, or I guess each individual track from my least favorite to my top favorite. Not that I think number one is going to be a surprise, but and I'll give some commentary on them. So I made a little PowerPoint here, and I spent way longer on it than I probably needed to, but I guess let's go. This little graphic here is custom, not this, but this thing to mimic kind of the style of the artworks. Anyway, um, my least favorite of the EP was definitely Bring It Coat, I think, and I'm probably going to get some flack for that, but I actually kind of think I don't have an issue with the concept of the track per se, but I definitely have an issue with the length and the amount of repetition. For a song that is only less than 2.5 minutes long, it sure does have a lot of repetition. I am. I just think it could have been more, and I don't really know where it fits exactly. Like, it doesn't really feel like it's horrendously valuable to me. Like, I don't really feel connected to this track like I do some of the other ones. It's just not for me. I know a lot of other people like it, but I kind of just don't all that much. It is cool as a kind of almost pseudo lo-fi thing, but I think it could have been better. For the Taking is my number 8, and I also know a lot of people that love this one, so people probably won't like this opinion, but here goes. My issue with this one is close to the same issue I had with not Deja Vu, um, Bring a Coat, because it is stupidly short. Like, and in my opinion, I see no good reason why it's so short. Uh, it almost could have been a pseudo sequel to Crystal from back in the All This Time EP, but it falls flat with how short and devoid of substance it feels. Like, to me, the track feels more like a uh, tech demo, to put it in like program terms, more than it does a real song. It just kind of feels like it doesn't need to exist in some ways. I think my favorite part about the track that I think is really good is the way the drop sounds. It has a very old school style sound almost of like a lot of early, or not early, but a lot of old like non-copyright sound kind of stuff, but better, obviously. But overall, I don't really listen to this one like at all, really. Deja Vu. Uh, this one also, I don't love that it's short, but there's also not really a whole lot else I can really imagine being done with this track to make it any longer. But I don't really find myself vibing to it at all, really. I like the verse after the hook, but I don't know. It feels, to me, it feels a little bit like a glorified sample flip. Might not like that opinion, but it's just how it is. It's not terrible, admittedly, and It's just not to my taste. Can't even tell. So, the good about this track is, in my eyes, the hook and the chorus, the main meat of the song. The thing I don't love so much are the verses. They are. And normally I don't agree with people when they say this about Fox Stevenson, but I think the verses are incredibly cheesy and hard to get into. Like, I just feel a part of me like dying inside at the way some of the verses sound. I don't love it at all, really. And that's probably just because it's not my style of lyricism, and that's fine. I don't think the song is a bad or lesser song because the lyrics are cheesy. It's just that I don't think it's my favorite. And I respect anyone that does, because there's not really anything intrinsically wrong with it. I will say I like how the little melodic part of the drops are just unapologetically like silly. Like it's like these drops are going to be silly and you're going to deal with it, basically. And I like that. I think that's kind of cool. Now we get into some controversy and some probably opinions that are definitely not going to be liked here, but still here. If I had to sum it up in one word, that one word would be overrated. I I never really got all that into Still Here when it was an ID. I thought there were some parts of it that were kind of cool, but it also felt a little underwhelming to me. And I gotta admit, it's kind of hard to get used to the new vocal take. And the bridge doesn't sound quite as good, in my opinion, as it did in the ID version, but that's also just probably me not being used to it. Uh, I just don't really love it all that much. I think it's terribly, terribly overrated, but, you know, I guess for a lot of people, it really does magic. The good about the track, it has nice drums, and uh, I guess it is good to see that it actually got released, because it did deserve to be released. It was kind of one of those ones that should be. Uh, you know, it it would have been wrong if it hadn't been released. Enemy Brain, aka Enemy Brian, aka Enema Brain, aka Enema Brian. um, I have a lot of nostalgia for this one, and nowadays, recently when I listen to it, I feel super nostalgic about it. But I do have some issues with it. Um, there are two versions that exist. One is the version that is on the lyric video, and the other is the one that's everywhere else. I think the one that's everywhere else is a less than stellar mix. It just doesn't sound good to me. There are parts that do, like I think the drums and the bass are better in that version, but there's like a lot of bizarre mixing decisions that I don't really agree with. Like at the end of the last drop in the version that's on Spotify and everywhere else, the way it resolves the melody makes absolutely no sense to me and just doesn't sound good. It just takes away the energy. And I think I can't really get over the way the double flam snares sound in the second verse. I don't like that, like, at all. But there are a lot of really good things to be said about this track. It has great verses, really interesting. It has a lot of verses, which is not something we get a lot of all the time. And I like the way the drop has the little vocals mixed into it. I think that like sounds really nice, and I can't help but just feel a lot of nostalgia for it, and I think I always will. Get through. I don't mind that. um, the Amogus track, not really, but this one I ended up liking way more than I expected to, and it grows on me more all the time. This one is very, very good, in my opinion. I'll start with the good about it. I think the drops are nice, and I love the little melodic section that's added to the second half of the second drop. I think that's really nice, and I think the way the third drop goes is also really nice. I think the vocals sound pretty nice indeed, and the second verse sounds kind of amazing. My issues come with one line in the song in particular, and that would be in the just before the second verse. Heavy head with the light feet. I don't know why, but that I don't like that. I don't like the way that sounds. Why isn't it with light feet? Why does there have to be a the there? I don't know. That's a nitpicky thing, and that doesn't really matter to like 99% of people. But I don't know. It feels a little weird. But truth be told, it doesn't really detract from my enjoyment of the track. It's just something that I kind of it just feels a little weird. But anyway, good song, very good, and the first return to house since Perfect Lie, which was nice to see. Human in the Evening, there's no way this couldn't be the number 2 spot because it checks so many boxes. It is the longest mainline Fox Stevenson track since Sandblast, which is saying something pretty significant. And it is an amazing, amazing, amazing track. I was absolutely not expecting what happened in the third drop, and it was amazing, and everything about it is just so good. The vocals are amazing, the verses are really, really vibey, and I love them. I get into them really easily, and it's close to perfect. The reason it's not higher is because I think the way the drops are mixed with the like cut up vocals in there sounds a little wacky and weird sometimes, but that's a little nitpicky, and that's stretching for a reason to not like it, but I do like it. I love it. And this should come as no surprise to anyone. I have talked about this track for so long and been hyping it up, or not hyping it up, I've been bragging on it for many, 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 many times. This is. I didn't expect to have my number 1 Fox Stevenson track of all time ever change. But this solidified itself as the number one for me immediately. I when it first came out, I listened to it on repeat for probably a good 2 or 3 hours, and I couldn't stop. It was so addictive to listen to. And it's now my number one track from Fox Stevenson of all time, which is not what I was expecting to happen, but I am glad. I think the vocals are incredible, absolutely incredible, and it hits just right. It's so damn good, and the way it has a unique final drop. Oh my god, chef's kiss, absolutely astounding, best. So now we are going to, as a little bonus segment, we're going to rank the artworks of the EP. Number one, I would say, is the Get Through art. I love it. I don't know why, but I like the kind of weird, almost mechanical feel to it, or like electronic. That's the word I'm looking for. Electronic feel to it. This is absolutely my favorite. I even ordered a custom pop socket for my phone that has this on it. 2 is the Still Here art. I think despite me not loving Still Here, I do really like the artwork. I'm a big fan of the color blue, and this is really nice. It gives kind of a vibe of water and like just like ocean or water, and I think it's kind of cool. A lot, very cool. 3 is Can't Even Tell because of the creatures mixed in there. I think it looks pretty cool, especially with the purple background. Oh, real quick, big ups to UA, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, for all the arts on this EP. They are mostly amazing. Well, they're all pretty amazing. Just okay. Deja Vu. I like the symboling in these columns and the kind of simple-ish design of the columns. It's kind of cool, and it's easy to look at. Enemy Brain. I don't know why the Enemy Brain art is gorgeous. It's just not my favorite color combination, but it's really nice. It's not my preference. Victory Over Truth. I don't like its art. I like the designings, but now I've gotten used to the art, so I don't hate it, or I never hated it, but I don't dislike it as much as I used to. It just kind of doesn't it doesn't stick out to me all that much. It's cool. I'm kind of a sucker for symmetry, and this doesn't really have a lot of, whoops, that was an accident. How do I go back? There we go. Okay. And this doesn't have a lot of symmetry in it, but it's not that bad. Human in the Evening art, I don't really like all that much. When I think of Human in the Evening, I don't think of this, in my opinion. It's good art, but I don't really think it fits Human in the Evening all that much. And I'll make this note again, all of these arts are very good, and UE/UA, I don't know how it's pronounced, is very talented, and all these artworks are amazing. Okay, but in my opinion, the Bring a Coat artwork is hard to look at. It has a very interesting style to it, but it is it's weird, and I don't really love to look at it all that much. The red coloring is kind of nice, and it is symmetrical, which is also a plus. But you know, 9 is the For the Taking art. This one's art feels random. It feels very, very random. Like, it doesn't have the same, in my opinion, careful attention to detail and, you know, everything else that these ones do. This one kind of just feels... And if you guys don't like this, sorry, but in my opinion, it feels a little generic. And it doesn't fit the image of For the Taking, in my opinion. This is the only one I kind of think I really don't like. The camo or pseudo camouflage patterning is cool, but I don't know. It feels out of place, in my opinion. But you know, my opinion is dubious at best, you could say. But anyway, that's the end, and I hope you enjoyed sitting through this monologue of mine. I figured instead of the way I've done it before, where I've done these with little subtitles, I'd just use my new mic and talk over it. Hopefully you enjoyed. If not, let me know. And I guess I'll see you the next time there's any ranking I want to do. Peace.